this is the new bank. This is the new JP Morgan, right? Like this is probably a 5x over the long run. Okay, somebody wanted me to look at this thing called QXO, which I guess used to be called Silversun. It's a kind of a bizarre situation. They got like this massive investment. So I'm trying to figure out what the story of the company is. It's basically a software company. QXO is the name of the company and the stock ticker. It's not clear to me what they do, but it looks like they randomly got like $1 billion investment. It was basically like a SPAC takeover. It was very weird. All right, so it was Silversun. Pretty small cap company, actually. Almost micro cap. Okay, I don't really love looking at micro caps. But how could a micro cap get $1 billion investment? That's kind of odd. So this is basically an acquisition, right? $1 billion investment. Brad Jacobs. Now who's Brad Jacobs? Okay, he had GXO. And 𝗕𝗏𝗋𝗄𝗃. Oh, this guy's worth $8 billion. Oh, rearranging your brain. Yeah, that's true. A healthy fear of failure. High quality M&A. Okay, I know that one. Outrageously talented team. Electric meetings. There's no such thing as an electric meeting, is there? Okay, this is cool. I gotta buy this. Yeah, first of all, nobody can pay me. And second of all, I think the guy's worth $8 billion. He doesn't need to pay me. I don't have any viewers. What are you, stupid? He could pay Aiden Ross. You get paid by shorts. What? When have you ever seen that happen? Ever? Stupidest thing in the world. I've been doing this a long time. Nobody's ever paid me anything other than, oh, the millions of dollars from trading. That's the payment. Nobody would, even if I was willing to take money, nobody would do it. My track record is what I care about. All right, so basically this guy is the company. I mean, it's probably a decent idea to bet on the guy, but we always have to make bets on price, right? This is like the GameStop situation. Board diversity matrix, God. Hispanic or Latinx, 2 or more race ethnicities. This is what you have to analyze in your investment research. I should do an investment research. No, I haven't been reading the X chat. I'm sorry. I mostly read the YouTube chat. So if you're watching on X, I'm happy that you're watching, but so many people want advice on their career and stuff like that. I should do a YouTube on that. On ESG and DEI, I should do like a fake parody YouTube of like scrolling through the income statement and being like, oh yeah, this isn't really relevant. And then going to the DEI stuff and being like, no, this is the stuff you got to pay attention to. The problem with X is, one, it's not 1,000 viewers, it's 1,000 views, which is very different. And two, I don't think the chat is that active. It's 400 million shares outstanding. Cassava, man, listen, these things pump before they die. It's a fake company, fake drug. Come on, man. I was humoring that guy yesterday, man, because I respect the fact the guy he made probably $1 billion somewhere in his life. I hope he didn't make 100 and he's putting 70 on cassava. That's all I can say about that. Shorts don't cover until readout. Stop it. Readout is the catalyst, man. Nobody's nervous about the cassava clinical trial results being good. Okay, so this is a little weird because I don't like to pay up for management. Like, you can pay up a little bit. I just don't like to pay a lot. I don't want to pay up too much for management. Yeah, what a gift cassava is to short. God just wants you to make free money. Okay, so I don't know. Like, this actually looks, if what I'm reading is right, which it does look like it's right, it kind of looks a little bit over, I mean, not just a little bit. Okay, so okay. That makes way more sense. I had to read more of the news. They raised $1 billion, then they raised 3.5, and another 620. Kushner's on the board? What? Okay, so basically it's a $5 billion SPAC. And you don't know what Brad's gonna do, but Brad's gonna do it. I don't know, I don't like stocks like this, to be honest. I'm not saying it can't work. It probably will. Probably get annual secondary from Hive. Yeah, I've used this thing, hive.com, H-I-I-V-E. It's not easy, but you can definitely nibble on some privates on this company, with this company. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I like operating businesses. This is almost like a fund right now. It didn't look like they had any debt. Looks like 1 million. Either way, it's not really material, but it's kind of cool. But like with these businesses, you're analyzing something different. You're analyzing management, and analyzing management's a really important part of business. But I don't know, I have to dig into this guy's life story, read his book, see what else he's doing. I don't love investing in guys like this that are towards the end of their career, because it's like, you're 68, you're writing books. Like, I actually would fade something like that if its value went up too much. No, you can't just add up the liabilities. Debt, to me, is when you borrow money. Accounts payable, here, I'll give you a quick lesson since you asked. This 6 million, 6.2 million, you can tell because it says up here in thousands. So you have to multiply this by 1,000. That's $6,194,000. Accounts payable. These are services that have been given to you for which you owe money. So if you have an AWS bill, that's outstanding. That would be here. Accrued expenses are kind of the same thing, but an accounting version. So that's $5.397 million, or 5.4 million. And this is something where your accountants have accrued it. They've sort of estimated the expense and are going to expense it. Or it's money you have to pay. Either way. Deferred revenue is product you have not shipped yet, but you have received revenue for. Long-term debt is what it sounds like. That is real debt. That is money I borrowed. I got to pay it back with interest. Leases are a little bit different. Lease accounting has gotten a little crazy. In general, you can avoid thinking of these as debt, but you would investigate them if they're large numbers. And then there's debt. So here the company has just got 1.4-ish million in debt. And, about to have 5 billion in cash, so a little bizarre. So I'll watch and see what these guys do, but the current business doesn't look too valuable. No, they have 5 billion now. So it's 5 billion for somebody else's 5 billion. I think you should own a home if the home is like 5% of your net worth, 10% of your net worth, that kind of thing. If it's all of your net worth, man, that makes me nervous. I'd rather rent the home and own a stock that I really understand than put all my net worth in a home I don't really understand, right? I mean, imagine, like, what do you know about real estate? Do you know your neighborhood's going to succeed? So this is kind of a complicated one. I mean, I think enterprise value, market cap. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 had some business problems in his life. I'd like to look into that. Cassava, look, the stock price for cassava doesn't matter. It can go to 100, it can go to 2. What matters is, will this trial work? The odds are very low. Cursor's an interesting one. Yeah, I've looked at Square and HIMS. Man, how much do I not want to look at HIMS? Study 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. That's my homework for QXO. Study 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Maybe I haven't looked at Square, honestly. Oh, it's called Block now, isn't it? Okay, so there's 2 classes of stock. We have adopted a distributed work model and therefore have no formal headquarters. The address represents our principal executive office, which we are required to identify under SEC rules. These guys, something else. Yeah, we don't have a headquarters. We're vegan. I don't know if you heard of this band. You probably didn't. They're not really that mainstream. This is Jack Dorsey's company. All right, let's let me put it on the screen. Sorry. I always forget to do that. You just got to be careful with financials because there's kind of like the customer funds thing. Loans, etc. Okay. I mean, I'm not counting my money versus somebody else's, so I don't know how you would know if I have more money or less money than anybody else, but I don't think of the world that way. We get a very short time on Earth, and if the way you're keeping score is money, like exact dollars and cents, I don't know. That's maybe not. We all want to be rich, of course, but there's certain things I wouldn't do for any amount of money. Very happy with where I am, but there are always going to be people richer than you. I can't compare to Steve Ballmer, probably ever, right? No matter how hard I work. I'm happy with where my values are, my startup. You know, but it's not, I'm not Steve Ballmer, and, you know, you can name other people and maybe more or less, this or that. That's not a great way to go through life, worried about who has more money than you know? No, if they don't bring my food on time, I'm not tipping. If they don't do it again, I'm switching restaurants. You gotta earn my business. The only person that should be apologizing is them. I order food, it comes 3-4 hours later. What good is it to me? Don't get me started. I'll come to the restaurant myself. I'll fix the problem myself. I come to the restaurant. It's not even a restaurant, it's like a deli. I come there, it's all Spanish guys. Go, dime. I start rapping Spanish, bro, rapid fire. Square is not that profitable of a business. Maybe their cash flow is better than it looks. I'm reading a book about Donald Knuth. It's like a book of his essays. Donald Knuth, K-N-U-T-H, Knuth. So Square made $1 billion in 6 months. That's a cash flow statement. The company's trading at 37 billion enterprise value. So if they make 2 billion, it's 18, 19 times earnings. But the question is, how much are they growing? And they're growing fairly handsomely. Bitcoin, I guess they're growing roughly the same amount. So they make 2% on Bitcoin, 3%. So excluding Bitcoin, I'm thinking their margin's pretty high. Let me try it. Yeah, tax refund. Not going to be a steady state. Yeah, I mean, the Bitcoin business, 5 billion in revenue, 4.9 in costs. They have 100 million gross profit in these 2 quarters for Bitcoin. Doesn't seem that great, but Jack is remarkably good CEO. I hate to admit that because I don't like the guy at all. He's very good at what he's doing, man. He's not. Okay, so subscription is mostly Cash App. This is the scariest 3 words for people, but it should be your favorite 3 words. I don't know. In addition, we operate Tidal. These guys, man. The Tidal deal is just crack stuff. Get a sense their business is half Cash App, half subscription is Cash App, transaction is Square. It's about half and half. Looks like Cash App's still growing a little bit, but certainly not the heyday growth. Margins are pretty low. There's Jack Dorsey. Blockhead, and chairperson. He is so woke, it's crazy. Can't be chairman. Oh, hell no. Chairperson. By the way, I put my pronouns in my LinkedIn and in my Discord, and I suggest everyone else do the same. Right now, it's not mandatory, but it may become mandatory. No, it's not a hypergrowth stock anymore. I'm he, him, in case you're surprised. I did decide to go with he, him. As you know, it's subject to change. That's a variable, not a constant. Respect my pronouns. Oh, wait a second. So Bitcoin. Okay, no, I see. Okay, they got gross profit. That's actually really smart. Dorsey's smart, man. I gotta say, Dorsey's smart. Abbvie, man, what a company. Never bet against them, but it's probably fully valued. They could buy Viking. And remember, Abbvie was number 3 to the TNF game, and they owned the TNF game, the TNF market. I call it the game like it's rap. Drake was 3rd to the rap game. No, they were the 3rd product entrant to the TNF market. I got to get rid of this rap stuff in my head. Too much black culture. But they were 3rd to the TNF market, and they ended up dominating the TNF market. So I think Abbvie could easily dominate the GLP market if they got involved. I don't want to say easily. Maybe I take that back. Easily was a little sus, but they could participate. Still don't know why Jack just gave Jay-Z a bunch of money. Let me look at the financials on the Tidal deal. Good. Balance sheet is not that big of a deal. You know, Abbvie doesn't care. Abbvie just sell stock. Honey Badger. Abbvie's, these guys are super smart. I think a Viking acquisition would actually be profitable. Okay, so Square actually had a down year, and then they grew 25%. I think partially this is Bitcoin price. Let me look at revenue growth without X Bitcoin. I would love to automate intelligence. OpenAI is working on that, I believe. Blanco Chapo, I do fly commercial. I'll fly private if I have to. I'd rather not. But private is sometimes necessary because you have to, if you're in a time-sensitive situation. Yeah, it's not really a habit thing. I make financial software. I do PDF parsing, so like it's really not about that. But if I have to explain it to you, it means you're new to this, and if you're new to this, you need to be true to this. Okay, cash flow from operations. Favorite financial ratio. See, that's the thing. I don't like financial ratios at all. I think financial ratios are kind of bogus. I guess gross margin to me is very important. But other than that, that's not even a real ratio, right? Or ROTA, return on tangible assets. Maybe ROTA is okay. ROA is too poisoned by garbage on the balance sheet. When did they buy Tidal? I want to see which one of these is Tidal. I mean, to me, gross margin is the heart of the business, right? Like, what's your product cost to make? And how much, what is the ratio of what you keep for that? That's like huge part of the company. Now, he said ratio, so free cash flow isn't exactly a ratio. Did they sell a business here? Okay, there's CapEx. And so are you telling me these guys are basically free cash flow neutral? Are they trying to run it like Amazon? Okay, so I do think looking at revenue excluding Bitcoin is the way to look at this guy. Because Bitcoin price is very volatile. They're making a small margin on that. But just straight core revenue. Yeah, revenue growth is good. It's not like it's bad. This looks pretty cheap. The problem is, like, I'm so busy. I wish I could spend time teaching. I gotta spend some time learning. Do we trust their EBITDA? What do you guys think? We'll put all the way down here. Okay, so if you take their EBITDA number, and they had, wait. They had really good cash flow from operations. Okay, so this year the CFFO is like actually quite high. Yeah, I like this stock. I'm not sure I trust EBITDA that much, but I still like this stock. Yeah, I think Square should be in everyone's portfolio. It's fair to say. I mean, that's my instinct. I'm still rather new to the Square, but I like it at first glance. Never Change, one of my favorite songs. If I play any songs, usually the streams get muted, so I used to really like this stock, and then it was like the ZERP times. It kind of went crazy, and then it went crazy up and then crazy down. But like, this is the new bank. This is the new JP Morgan, right? Like, this is probably a 5X over the long run. This is like, people want the bank of the future. It's this. And some banks will keep up. Some banks won't. So this is adjusted EBITDA. It's growing like crazy. So TTM adjusted EBITDA, 2.5 billion. So you're getting a growth stock, great manager, 15 times EBITDA. It's pretty good. No. Many of the banks will adapt. You know, JP Morgan is a tech company that happens to do banking. So I do think, there's no doubt a number of these companies will adapt. Some of them won't, and they'll be left behind, and Square will buy them for their depositors. For real. The nice thing about the model structure I use is that once you make the model, it's good for life. So you guys might see this as like laborious, but you got to realize that if you haven't been looking at a stock for years and years, you do have to spend some time to set it up initially. And once you've set it up initially, updating it is very easy. It takes 2 seconds. And then you could really use the model for intelligent purposes. I showed the Young Thug video yesterday of him updating his models. Yes, I taught Young Thug financial analysis. It's true. The funniest part is the judge threw his lawyer in jail. And before they took him away, he was like, "Can I at least be in prison with my client?" That's a boss right there. The guard comes by, he's like, "Thug, you got a new bunk mate." He tosses the lawyer in the jail cell. Thug's like, lawyer's like, "Well, I guess I thought I'd do the bid with you, Young." I don't like that kids look up to guys like Young Thug. They should be looking up to black business leaders. But I don't make the rules. A big part of it is the media, man. It's money. It's a lot easier to sell Young Thug than it is to sell Ken Chenault or Ken Frazier showing up the wrong role model. And a black guy doesn't care either because he's getting rich. 50 Cent getting rich. There's no reason you can't appreciate art, but I think the effect it can have on others is substantial. And some of the stuff just isn't art either. Jay-Z is art. Some of these young guys trapping and this and that, I don't call it necessarily. I mean, it's not art, but it's also not. But you know what they say about art, right? I mean, you can judge somebody's art, maybe it's still art. All right, look at the sales growth. So here's revenue growth for Square excluding Bitcoin. 27, 20, 16, 15, 14, 13. That's not a bad thing. Growth slows when businesses get bigger. Sometimes. They probably shouldn't be slowing for this though. Honestly, I have so much more work to do. This is such an interesting company. It really could be like a generational win kind of thing. I don't say that often. Like in pharma, you're only as good as your last drug. You can't buy a stock and not look at it and just hold on to it forever. It doesn't work that way. But companies like this, you could actually do that. There's no such thing like that in the pharma world. Sometimes you get a manager that good, but it's fairly rare. Cashapp Custies. I think did they stop giving this metric out? I kind of like Bitcoin. I'm a little less bullish for reasons I can't really talk about, mostly political stuff, but in the long run, I do think Bitcoin's okay. I don't like Ethereum. I'm pretty bearish on Ethereum. No, Tidal is worthless. That's why I don't understand why Square bought it just to do Jay-Z a favor. I mean, I like Jay-Z too, but I'm not okay. They bought Afterpay for $13 billion. Another bad deal. I would charge Jay-Z $500,000 to have dinner with me. I know, I like Hove. I mean, I love his music. Yeah, I imagine they got some stuff going on. The revenue growth slowed a little bit, but still pretty good. Look at Square's growth, pretty impressive actually. Jack had a lot of trouble scaling Twitter though. Yeah, clearly Square could be as profitable, not as profitable as they want, but this is actually really interesting. Chat, you can take a look at here's cash flow and here's revenue. This is kind of amazing. This is a really good lesson. A lot of times in investing, we're taught that the earnings for a company are very important because they are. But the problem is we tend to not understand what earnings power is. And earnings power to me basically just means how much earnings could the company make. And what's interesting here is on 3 billion of revenue, they did 300 in cash flow. It looks like in certain years, they had at least 10%. Now, maybe excluding Bitcoin, they should be able to generate that kind of cash flow. And their EBITDA kind of is in line with that. But as a company grows revenue, it should be scaling, not descaling. That's a pretty good sign for scale. Like at some point, they were pretty profitable. They chose to be less profitable by investing in product development. So just keep that in mind as a really important. Yeah, I think Jack's an odd guy. Betting on Jack's a little tricky. Certainly as from a starting business, I don't know that there are that many better entrepreneurs. But look what happened to Twitter. He kind of got lazy. It got big. He got distracted. He wanted to do something else. So And this company's kind of getting to Twitter size, or it's actually past Twitter size. So it's like, well, is he going to do that again? So I'd be long, I just don't know that I'd be, how long I would be. Yeah, he's a weirdo. Let's just keep it real. Okay, they started Bitcoin in 2018. That's kind of funny. These guys used to have a lot of gross margin. Yeah, I think it's pretty attractive, honestly. Price is right. Yeah, I don't think AI is replacing money soon. We got a ways to go. At some point, it's sort of reducing the need for money for some people who don't want to work. That's certainly true. We already live in a pseudo-welfare, pseudo-UBI society. Think about how many people you know that don't really work, kind of doing some email job, taking time off, the state's helping them, a lot of welfare, maybe they're a content creator. I know people who spend years doing that, just kind of in between a million things. Starbucks. They had a Starbucks itemized as part of their what? Okay. Man, Square's an impressive company. Yeah, I wonder how much revenue Afterpay added. Why waste time with Square? Can't we just look at the stock chart history and assume it's dead money? Wow.